My teacher texted me at midnight, "Don't go to school tomorrow. They know what you saw." So I didn't. The phone lit up my dark bedroom with Mr. Carver's name on the screen. I grabbed it before the notification sound could wake my parents down the hall. The message was short and made my chest tighten before I even finished reading it. Mr. Carver had been my history teacher for 2 years and had never contacted me outside school hours. He was careful about boundaries, always professional. The kind of teacher who made you think critically instead of just memorizing dates. This message violated everything I knew about him, which meant something had gone catastrophically wrong. I was 16 and spent enough time online to recognize when adults were genuinely terrified versus when they were overreacting. This text read like genuine terror compressed into 11 words. I sat up in bed and read it again, trying to make sense of what they know, what you saw, could possibly mean. Yesterday had been normal, except for one thing. I'd stayed late after school working on the newspaper in the journalism room on the 3rd floor. Around 5, I'd gone down to the 2nd floor bathroom and heard voices coming from Principal Vaughn's office. The door was cracked open and I could see inside where Vaughn was meeting with Coach Dennison and Mrs. Albright, the guidance counselor. They were looking at something on a laptop and their voices were tense. I'd only caught fragments of conversation before Mrs. Albright noticed me in the hallway and they'd shut the door immediately. But I'd heard enough to know they were discussing covering something up. The specific words I'd heard were, "Make sure the records are deleted, and if anyone finds out about the payments, we're all finished." Coach Dennison had said something about the Burke kid and how they needed to handle this before it goes public. I hadn't thought much of it at the time because I didn't know who Burke was or what payments they were discussing. But clearly, someone thought I'd heard more than I had, or understood more than I actually did. Now, Mr. Carver was warning me to stay away, which suggested the stakes were higher than I'd realized. I tried calling him, but it went straight to voicemail. His professional outgoing message felt wrong, given the emergency he'd just declared. I couldn't sleep after that. I lay in bed, running through every interaction from yesterday, trying to figure out what had triggered this warning. The only thing that stood out was that moment in the hallway outside Vaughn's office. Mrs. Albright had looked directly at me before closing the door. She'd known I was there and had probably told the others. But what could they possibly be covering up that was serious enough to warrant a midnight warning from a teacher who'd never shown any sign of paranoia or drama? I pulled out my laptop and searched for Burke student and our school name. Nothing came up in news results. I tried variations with athlete and scholarship and incident, but found nothing relevant. My parents were already gone when I woke up at 7. Mom left early for her nursing shift and Dad was traveling for work. My younger brother was still asleep and wouldn't surface for another hour. I made coffee and tried to decide whether to actually follow Mr. Carver's advice and skip school. Missing classes would raise questions I couldn't answer without explaining the text, which felt like betraying his trust. But going to school when a teacher had specifically warned me not to seemed stupid. I settled on a compromise. I'd go late after first period and avoid the main office where Vaughn and the others would be most visible during morning announcements. I drove to school around 9 and parked in the back lot where student vehicles mixed with teacher cars. The building looked normal from outside, the same brick structure I'd been entering for 3 years. Nothing about the exterior suggested danger or conspiracy. I checked my phone again, but there were no new messages from Mr. Carver. I texted him asking what specifically I should be worried about and whether I should talk to my parents or the police. The message showed as delivered, but he didn't respond. I sat in my car for another 10 minutes watching students move between buildings for 2nd period class changes. Everything appeared routine. I finally went inside through the side entrance near the gym. My locker was on the 2nd floor, same hallway as Vaughn's office, and I took the stairs 2 at a time while keeping my head down. A few students lingered in the hallway, but no teachers were visible. I grabbed books for my next 2 classes and closed the locker quietly. That's when I heard my name over the PA system. To see the full story, click the link below or go on my channel.